Texas. Two teenagers live here in an empty house with nothing but a sofa and a TV. They work at a fast food restaurant where no one can remember either of them ever applying for a job there. One of them threatens immigration officials and is subsequently deported to Mexico. A bully's built his entire reputation on beating up two kids who keep coming back for more abuse. It's like a loyalty program. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the most powerful being needs just a sugar rush and a single Spanish word to completely lose it. Let's get started. Tom Anderson. Tom Anderson is Beavis's neighbor. That's his job description, living next door to Beavis. Tom's eyesight has gotten so bad that whether he can even recognize Beavis and Butt-Head depends entirely on whether his glasses are working. Take his glasses away, and he says things like, "Was it you guys who were making out in my barn?" Or, "Are you responsible for what happened to my cat's rear end?" And every single time, the two of them lie right to his face. Every single time, he believes them completely. Once, he was even convinced that they were Asian. Objectively wrong, still, he doesn't doubt himself for a second. He even tried to report them to the police once. The attempt failed because he couldn't get their names right. He called them Butthole and Joe. This isn't a memory problem anymore. It's a mind that has consciously chosen to let him down, just to spare him the humiliation. Tom Anderson is what happens to a human nervous system exposed to these two for years. Driven past a point even horror movie villains would call excessive, his lawnmower was stolen, used as a weapon, and returned in worse condition than it was when it was taken. And then there's the war story. A South Korean farmhouse, surrounded by North Korean soldiers. Behind enemy lines, at that very moment, Tom was fixing a sink for a man named Han Yong. He noticed a pipe that didn't fit properly. While Han Yong and his own comrades were dying all around him, Tom was completely focused on finding the shutoff valve. He finally found it. His takeaway from the whole incident: the farmer would have suffered burns if he hadn't already been shot. Zero aura, the most punished, innocent bystander in the history of animated television. Tom worries about safety valves while Han Yong dies. At least worry about your subscribe button and click it. F tier. But at least Tom got a war story. The next guy didn't even get that. And he secretly funded the most iconic moment in the entire show. Stewart Stevenson. Stewart is the friend that Beavis and Butt-Head have, but they actively pretend they don't. And at least one episode, diarrhea. His mom makes the two of them breakfast burritos. While he's too sick to eat them himself, he delivers the candy that triggers the most legendary transformation in the entire series. Gets nothing in return. He wants to fit in desperately, laughs at jokes half a second too late, agrees with things no one asked his opinion on, and yet, without Stewart's stash of candy, Cornholio would have never existed. The most iconic moment of the entire series, entirely funded by a boy with stomach problems whose own friends won't even admit they like him. Even the multiverse feels sorry for him. Out there, there's a smart Stewart who finally gets respect. They had to invent an entire universe just so this kid could win once. F tier. Stewart never got respect. The next man got something far worse. Two students who personally dismantled his entire sanity. Principal McVicker. McVicker is the main antagonist of the entire series, not because he's evil, but because two specific students have ruined his mental health. People now just call him McDicker. He stutters regularly, he takes medication for tremors and seizures, he's an alcoholic. He talks as if he's on the verge of a heart attack, which actually almost happened once. Just how seriously he still takes his job is clearest during the Scared Straight program. Instead of reviewing actual student records, he picks candidates based on their yearbook photos. Look like a criminal, you're a criminal. End of story. His instability isn't limited to school. As a parent-teacher conference, he gets into arguments with several parents at once. In Do America, you see him in a motel room being whipped, a detail that reveals more about his inner state than anything that happens at school. And yet there's still a glimmer of hope. When Beavis mumbles an apology after his Cornholio outburst, McVicker actually lets him off without punishment. D tier. If a man almost driven mad by two idiots still has hope, you definitely have enough left to click subscribe. Thanks. McVicker lost his mind on these two. Now let's meet one of the two who did it. Fire! Frying pan! Beavis! Let's talk about Beavis as Beavis, setting aside what happens to him later in this video. Basically, Beavis is pure chaos without direction. He laughs at things that aren't funny, he doesn't quite grasp consequences, he's kicked Butthead right in the testicles more than once to resolve conflicts. He's also the most emotionally honest of the two. He apologizes when he means it. He shows genuine joy in small, strange moments. Beneath the layers of heavy metal t-shirts and complete indifference to personal hygiene lies much more. His behavior fluctuates wildly. Some days, he's a punching bag his best friend shoves across the room. Other days, something flickers in his eyes that conveys only one message. Something is waiting in there. And it won't be waiting much longer. And it wants toilet paper. And here comes the part that really complicates this ranking. There's an older Beavis, decades older, not smarter, just more tired. The same idiot reassembled across multiple timelines, and somehow none of them even clears the bar for competence. This is multiverse-wide confirmation that Beavis is simply the way he is. And every reality the writers bothered to check. C tier. That's Beavis on his own. Now the other half, the one who actually thinks he's the brains. Butthead. Butthead presents himself as the leader, the dominant one, the one with the plan, the self-confidence, the superior intellect. None of that's true. Butthead's entire demeanor is just for show. He constantly insults Beavis and scolds him, "Calm down, Beavis." And second, his friend gets too unpredictable. Every idea is his idea, and he's never responsible for any failure. Even his voice speaks volumes. Deep, nasal, with a slight lisp, constantly interrupting it by his trademark, "Oh." Compared to Beavis, Butthead almost seems laid back. Calmer, presumably smarter, which here means about as much as a sponge. He's considered the mastermind behind most of the duo's pranks, yet he completely lacks empathy. Semi-illiterate, less intelligent than almost every other character in the series, and he almost never loses his composure. Even when he fails at sex and Beavis completely loses it, Butthead just stays Butthead. Compassion is basically a foreign concept to him. Whether Beavis is brutally beaten, abandoned, or even deported to Mexico, Butthead remains unmoved every time. The best part, it goes both ways. When Butthead once nearly drowns in a pool, Beavis just watches, as if he's watching TV instead of his best friend's possible death. Die for each other? Maybe. Save each other? Not really. Let's move on to his good qualities. They start, of course, with violence. Butthead invents a game where he repeatedly kicks Beavis in the testicles until Beavis doubles over in pain. It spirals completely out of control. Beavis ends up in the hospital in critical condition. And at that very moment, the most improbable thing in the series happens. Butthead is overcome with such intense guilt that he actually starts praying to God to spare Beavis' life. The Archangel Michael then actually brings Beavis back to life. Brothers for life. Butthead has never had a single good idea in his life, but he's also never doubted himself even for a second. That combination makes him a predominantly personality. B tier. Butthead's authority is pure bluff. The next man's is the real thing, and he's got the body count to back it up. Coach Buzzcut. Coach Buzzcut, former Marine drill sergeant, Vietnam veteran, a patriot through and through. This man survived the war, and afterward he voluntarily chose to teach teenagers. The worst career move in military history. He has exactly one temperament: explosive. His volume falls somewhere between a fire alarm and an explosion. His opinion on students? They're all weak. Not just the majority, all of them. This leads to constant conflict with Van Driessen. Two teaching philosophies that completely cancel out. Buzzcut yells, Van Driessen is probably meditating. And yet, here's where it gets interesting. Even Van Driessen once called him in because he couldn't control his own chaotic class, which means even the gentlest person at this school knows exactly whose voice brings the situation under control instantly. Aside from McVicker, Buzzcut hates no one more than Beavis and Butt-Head, and he reaches for the most direct weapon he has, their masculinity. In one episode, he asks Butt-Head what makes him think he's even a man. Butt-Head's answer, "Oh, I have testicles." That was the entire philosophical defense. Buzzcut then repeatedly challenges Butt-Head to kick him in the groin. A challenge Butt-Head accepts. A Vietnam veteran voluntarily demanding to be kicked in the groin just to prove his masculinity to a teenager. This isn't parenting anymore, it's midlife crisis with a whistle. What sets him apart from Todd? Consistency and position. Todd operates without any system. Buzzcut operates entirely within one. The real institutional authority over teenagers who have zero recourse. He roars. The gym responds immediately, without exception. Barely suppressed rage declared the official teaching method, and somehow it works. No one questions his authority. Anyone who's seen his reaction to disobedience firsthand won't try it twice. A tier. Buzzcut rules the gym by screaming. The being at the top of this list doesn't even need words to make sense. God tier, the essence. Are you threatening me? My asshole won't. Cornholio is their hero. He's given these men hope. That's what a prison guard says about Beavis. An inmate runs around with a shirt pulled over his head, screaming for toilet paper, and is revered as a spiritual leader by adult incarcerated men. A prison guard gives a genuinely serious speech about hope, and he's talking about Cornholio. So let's figure out what Cornholio actually is, because the answer is genuinely unclear, and that's exactly the point. Enough sugar, caffeine, and stimulants, and Beavis starts showing symptoms. Convulsions, violent head shaking, a squinting glance at his own fist, doesn't exactly sound healthy, and then the moment a Spanish-sounding word is uttered, somewhere, his entire personality changes, instantly. Arms at 90-degree angle, t-shirt pulled over his head, and then screaming starts. Gibberish, strange noises, eyes wide open, aimless wandering while he roars, "I'm Cornholio! I need toilet paper for my asshole!" Fun fact, during the pandemic, millions of people did the exact same thing, only without the excuse of being a fictional character. Sometimes, the normal Beavis flashes for a second before Cornholio takes back over, and once the episode's over, total amnesia. He just doesn't know what happened. But here's where it gets interesting. As Cornholio, Beavis does things the normal Beavis never would. He becomes a successful beat poet. On Celebrity Deathmatch, he actually defeats Butthead and kills him in the process. Of course, the same alter ego consistently gets him into huge trouble. He's wrongfully arrested by immigration officials and deported to Mexico, while an officer and his supervisor seriously try to make sense of the gibberish by looking up the definition of asshole. Asked where he's from, he answers Lake Titicaca. Asked where it is, Nicaragua. Wrong. Lake Titicaca sits between Peru and Bolivia. Cornholio doesn't even know his own fictional origin correctly, and by now, he's bigger than the show itself. His own finishing move in Call of Duty, his own edit style in Fortnite, complete with emotes. He currently appears in more video games than most movie stars. Is there toilet paper in this lobby? For my asshole? Are you threatening me? Subscribe anyway. Thanks. See you soon.